Here we go.
Hey guys, Steve here, Ponics. Today we're going to talk about
growing with fishes. Growing with fishes.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 326 of the Growing with Fishes podcast. This week we have Pigeons420 joining us. Thanks a lot for joining us, Pigeons.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. It's an absolute pleasure.
Heck yeah, super excited to have you on. I always enjoy people that like gaming and cannabis.
Yeah, two of my favorite things.
Right? They go well together.
I would say so. Yeah, I think they do.
If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to check out the virtual Aquaponic Cannabis Conference we'll be hosting this weekend, January 14th and 15th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We have speakers from all over the world. We have 2 speakers from South Africa, people from Colombia, Mexico, Australia, Costa Rica, all across the U.S., including the original Mr. Green. If anyone remembers him from the early 2000s, he'll be one of our speakers, as well as Breeder Steve, Matt Powers, Chris Trump, all over. So be sure to check us out this weekend. If you're looking for hours and hours and hours of free education, come hang out with us and learn all about how to grow cannabis. It's not specifically only geared towards aquaponic growers. There's a ton of content for everybody. Kevin McKernan's giving a long talk on viruses in cannabis. So be sure to come check it out, regardless of whether or not you grow in aquaponics. Alrighty, thanks for joining us today. For those of you that don't know, Pigeon420 has a really awesome YouTube channel, actually one of the biggest in the cannabis industry. You can find him at Pigeons420. He also has a Twitch channel, which is currently, there we go. Sorry guys. Twitch channel. You guys can find him here if you want to watch him game and have fun there, or his Instagram, which you can find here at Pigeons420. Sorry, I was scrolling down looking, doing some research earlier this morning. Pigeons420, you can check out on Instagram as well. So thanks a lot for joining us. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started creating content for your channel?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on. I absolutely love the show. I love what you're doing. Really appreciate these virtual seminars, conferences that you're doing. These are fantastic. Great way to get your hands dirty while staying at home, and you can do it from really anywhere around the world. So hats off to you, man. It's great to see these things happening. So thanks for including me on the show. I got into this mainly because I was a cannabis patient to begin with. I got in a car accident that took me off the map for a few months in 2013. And that's really what opened the door to using this as medicine. And as I started to kind of explore and do a little homework on where to find information on how to grow, it became very clear that this information was pretty scarce, particularly when it came to YouTube. I'm a video guy. I don't like reading to this day. And, having to sift through paragraphs and paragraphs of information is not something that is really entertaining. It's not valuable to me. So I really wanted to turn to video education, and I was hoping that platforms like YouTube would provide an outlet for me, or at least a source for me to use to kind of learn from. And it was very clear that this kind of information wasn't out there. I started my channel in 2016 or 2016. And although there was content, it wasn't easy to find. It was very, very hard to watch. It was very grainy. In 2016, we didn't have the best for camera phones. So that's what everybody was recording on. And it was rough. So I knew that I could do something in this area. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to teach people that they can grow this plant and just be an average guy. You don't need to be, you don't need to be a hippie from the 60s, and you don't need to be a botanist from today. You can actually do this and know almost nothing. And I think I've proven that. because I still know almost nothing, and I'm years into the game. So that's really what got me started. I just wanted to show people that anybody could do it.
Really appreciate your passion for it, and thank you again for taking the time to come on today. I thought was really funny looking at your channels and your most popular videos. It's similar to mine, that the most popular videos aren't the ones that we put the most production time into and went and traveled to some faraway place. It's how to prune or trim or train or something like that. What has your experience been with that, and why do you kind of think that those are the ones that really end up being the biggest ones for many different channels?
Well, that's funny you said that. I think there's a number of reasons for that. But number one, when we started getting, like, I say we, but when I started doing this, you know, I was solely doing this for just information based. I just wanted to give information with an example, and that was it. Then as I started to grow into it more and more, I realized that, well, there's an entertainment value that should go into this as well. And it helps, you know, keep people's attention and helps build a community. And so there was a shift in content where it was, you know, more so or less focus, or not less, but less solely focused on education, and then splitting into entertainment and edutainment, where it's entertainment with a little bit of like life involved with that, where I kind of let everyone get to know who I was a little bit more. But back when we were creating that content, YouTube was a different beast that it is now. YouTube allowed that content. That content was not suppressed. That content was not age restricted. It was not blacklisted. It was promoted. If you put out a video, for example, if I put out a video, how to top, that video back then would do fantastic, and people would search that video, and for years you would still be able to search that video. Now those videos are dying off. Yeah, they are my most viewed videos, but they have not gained any momentum over the course of like the last 24 months. You know, they gained views while people were actively searching. It's not that people aren't looking for this content still, it's just that YouTube's not throwing it at them. You know, you've got to really search for it to find this stuff. And so, yeah, it's in a way where you were able to search it in a way, search for it then in a way that you can't do anymore. So that I would argue that a lot of the times that's why the older stuff has done better than the newer stuff, you know, in a way.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that particular one, how and when to top your plants, the best video on my channel.
Yeah, how and when. Yeah, right. It's a good one. Training's a good topic.
I haven't, it hasn't increased, but it is solid, like 200 views a day, 300 views a day, like every day, no matter what, which is pretty cool. I always found that
people are looking for that information. You know, it's not that people have searched less for it. In my opinion, people are searching more. The proliferation of legalization has, in my opinion, increased people's demand for knowledge, not led to a decrease. So people are looking for it. I just think now it's just not only that, is there's also a much more diverse crowd of people creating this kind of content now, you know, than there was back then. In 2016, I can almost count on one hand how many cannabis content creators there were. You know, there were not many, particularly many that had more than 10, 15, 20,000 subscribers. You know, it was not many. Now the number is probably upwards of 100, you know, that have upwards of 10, 50, well, I'd say thousands now. It's 10,000 subscribers or so, you know. It's not what it used to be. So I think that has an impact on search results too. And these people are putting out good content as well. The people that are coming after me are putting out way better content than I am. I'll tell you that right now, you know, and they've learned what works, what doesn't work. They've seen creators do this. They've seen creators do that. So hats off to the new creators that are doing it, and they're doing it well.
So I guess on that note, what advice do you have for new creators? I know we were kind of touching on this a little bit before the show, but as far as dodging the censor ninjas that happen to arm around YouTube and other content platforms, that what you seem to be one of the most successful people in terms of navigating those waters, and it was something I was very excited to kind of have you talk about on the show today, because it seems like a lot of people have had problems in the last 6 months or so with, you know, their channels coming. I know Dude Grows had their stuff taken down. A couple of our other friends have had their content taken down. We've been threatened on.
I've had my stuff taken down. Yep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. It's funny you say this because there's always an old school and a new school. The old school will think that things are as good as they have always been and they don't need to change. And the new school is going to move with the times and try to adapt and overcome. And maybe that's not always the case for the new school, but I digress. And as someone, as one of the dinosaurs, if you will, for the cannabis content community, I started this blunt, in your face, plants. And over the course of, the 2 or 3 years since, it was 2018. I know exactly the date, for crying out loud. It was 2018 that things started to change, and we can thank a guy named Logan Paul, but I'm not getting into that. And that's when YouTube started to tighten its the noose around, what they were going to accept for content that would be age or advertiser acceptable. And a lot of us in 2018 got deleted entirely. I lost my channel. It was gone for 3 or 4 months, and then I got it back, and it was never the same after that. It was blacklisted. It was always suppressed, restricted. But I tried to continue on the path of pushing out content. I never stopped growing. I've been growing this entire time, but I would just start pushing out more, just plants. And then I did that for 4 years, just nonstop, over and over and over and over again. And I would watch my views and my audience numbers go down and down and down and down and down and down, to the point where it's like I'm putting out videos and they're barely getting 1,000 views. And I could put out a how to harvest, a seed to harvest. Like, everyone's doing it, capitalized letters, seed to harvest. Everyone does it. That's a famous title, right? And it didn't matter. Because, once you get age restricted, once your channel's blacklisted, it's blacklisted, it's done. It's, no matter how hard you try to get out, it's an uphill battle. And so I thought, you know what? I thought a lot of things, man. I was going to start other channels. I was going to do other content, shy of like makeup and kitty cats, man. I was going to do just about anything. And I thought, you know what? I want to stay true to cannabis. I want to stay true to this plant, because that's who I am. This is who I am on the internet. Who I am as a person. And I've started to kind of realize that YouTube doesn't give a hoot about me, Pigeons420. They need to make money. And if they didn't want cannabis content on their platform, it would be mass erased. You know what I mean? Like it would be like anything else that's horrible. I don't want to just give examples because I don't want to say it, but anything that's just the most heinous of horrible things. If they didn't like it, they would remove it, right? Well, they did not do that to cannabis. They did remove some channels, but not all channels. And they would suppress some content, but not all content, which then leads me to believe it's an algorithmic suppression. It's not like YouTube's just pushing a button and saying, YouTube, you must go, or Pigeons, you're done. So I thought I need to figure out the algorithm. And over the course of probably almost 2 years, I started to figure it out. YouTube does not like plants. You put a plant in your video, your shit's getting age restricted. And if you're thinking it doesn't get age restricted, it will. YouTube will catch up with you. It's only a matter of time. Even the largest creator, the largest growing content creator, who is Mr. Canucks Grow, he is the largest of all. But if you look, he's been at 920,000 subscribers for months. He's been at 900 forever. He's been at 800 forever, 800,000 forever. This man puts out a video and it only gets 40, 50, 60,000 views. Over the course of months and months and months, it might get 100,000, but it's age restricted. Every single one of his videos is age restricted. So when you look at it, you're thinking, wow, he's doing it, but why can't I? He's doing it, but he's going through massive suppression at the same time. For a guy who puts in so much effort into his channel, whether it's his editing, his gardening, his edit style is better than most freaking Netflix shows. So you can't tell me that a guy with 900,000 subscribers that puts out A1 content, and I don't care what you think of the content, it's the exact same video over and over again. It should be doing amazing. You know what I mean? But it doesn't. He only gets 20, 30, 40,000. Why? It's got plants in it. And he should be doing better. So I understand that people get excited, like, well, he's doing it, but he should be doing so much better. He should put out a video, and every video should get 200,000 views, at least 100,000 views easily. Like, that should just be the lowest number that he gets, you know, but that's not what happens. His big videos get that. So it's like, I started to realize, wait a second, I'm not going to smash my head against the wall and do the same thing over and over again when it comes to posting plant videos over and over again. So I started to realize that I can get out the exact same message while altering what people are looking at. And whether it's me that's talking, whether I'm out doing B-roll, whether I'm out in the back 40, whatever, I'm not showing you plants. And I have not shown plants on my channel for the last 4+ months, and my channel's doing better than it ever has. So it's like, that's one of the things. And I'm still, and it's like, I haven't showed plants, but I'm able to reach twice the amount of people that I've ever been able to reach, you know? So still trying to get my channel out of the blacklisted part, because you still have to deal with the demonetization. And I do believe that if you have a demonetized video, YouTube suppresses it. Why would they promote something that's not going to make them or you money, right? When they've got a video over here that's got a green $sign, when they're like, well, here, just take this one, you know? So of course there has to be some level of suppression, but it's a battle. It's a battle, but it's one where it's like, if I was to give advice, and that was your original question, if I could give anyone advice, it's don't give in entirely. You know, cannabis has a place, in my opinion, in everyone's life. And we have a valuable mission. We have a valuable message to spread. And there's absolutely no reason we should concede that message just because, you know, people, were being suppressed. There's people that came before me who've been imprisoned. They've been beaten, enslaved over this plant. The least I can do is keep pushing the message despite some weak censorship by some overlord platform, right? So keep pushing, don't give up, but find alternative ways to give your message in ways that people aren't doing.
Have you had one thing, and we were talking about this too before the show, is being careful on the links that you put in your descriptions. That's another thing that YouTube loves to peg you for. We only list on ours social media links. People can link to whatever their website is on their social media through Linktree or whatever else, but listing just social media seems to keep you out of trouble. Do you have any other good points, or do you not say the word cannabis, or is there any other things that you try to not say or not do to, along with the no photography?
Yeah. Consumption is big. I no longer consume in videos. That was a big thing, because when I first started making videos, that's what was different between me and other people, is that you saw me first. The video didn't start with a video with the cell phone in your tent staring at White Widow with the dark camera flickering with the light bars going up the thing. It started with me, and I started with a little introduction. Sometimes I talked way too long, believe it or not. But it would be an introduction. I'd say, hey, how you doing? And great to see you, yada, yada, yada. And then I would have a hoot, and then I would exhale, and that would be the transition into the next scene. I did that for years and years. And then I started to realize that they didn't want consumption on. So that was one of the very early things that I ixnayed, was having hoots on videos. I'd do it from time to time in a live stream, but that's what hits you. I really believe that that's a big one. The hoots in videos. The next one is, you can't link to, like, I'd even be careful with some social medias. Because if you're like, I try not to say the word beans in an alternative sense, starting with a capital S, okay, ending with a D. And I don't want to be the guy that ruins it for you, so I'm not saying it. But the thing is that that's another one. They've made it very clear in their terms and conditions that they do not condone, and they will not allow any conversation or really promotion of beans of the Mary J variety. And if you have links to people's social media who are distributing those, that'll get you in shit. So that's something that I would be very cautious of as well, you know. But yeah, it is a game, man. It really is, between links, the censorship of your voice or the words that you're saying. I personally don't think that the word cannabis is going to hold anyone back. But they're already saying they're going to crack down on curse words in the first 30 seconds or minute and a half of your video. So if they can crack down on the curse words that you're saying, don't think for a second that they can't crack down on weed, cannabis, marijuana. You know what I mean? So definitely there's so many ways to bounce around it too, you know, like the plant. That's a great one to say, and if you want to try to use it. But yeah, it can be a little corny at times to bounce around. But again, we have a valid message to spread, and you know, we just need to find alternative ways to spread it. It's not the first time in history this kind of thing has had to be done. People have had to use code and, you know, and innuendos to spread messages in the past. This is no different. It's no different.
No, didn't what was it? In the Navy, the gay sailors would be like, "Do you know Dorothy?" or something like that, and the FBI started a whole like multi-decade campaign to hunt down this like mythical woman who led like an army of like gay infiltrators into the Navy, and it had like there was no woman. There was
Of course not.
Didn't understand what the whole thing.
That's awesome. That's hilarious. I had no idea. I've never heard of that. I'm gonna like research that. That is hilarious.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, check it out. I think it was Friend of Dorothy. I could be wrong. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it was Friend of Dorothy, or something like that. But the FBI and the CIA had this whole like, they thought it was like a communist like infiltration conspiracy into the Navy, and it was totally just a way for guys to meet each other that were like,
I love that,
trying to not be open. And they completely misread the whole thing.
That's so cool. That is awesome. That is awesome. Can you imagine how many rabbit holes, you know, the government has gone down that they had no need to go down, but they just got the wrong, you know what I mean? Yeah, I couldn't imagine the wrong code. Anyway, that's another conversation.
So what are some of the biggest surprises or things that you've learned along the way with your grow content and things that you've done, you know, as far as producing content for cannabis? You know, I'm sure you've had a couple of like, man, that was really cool. I didn't realize this, or I didn't connect these two dots, or what are some of the cool things that you've learned along the way with your channel?
That, you know, it's amazing that you can make a living doing this. I am a full-time cannabis content creator, and that was an incredible moment. I struggle though, you don't get me wrong. It's not sunshine and rainbows, but I'm blessed, man. I'm blessed. Being able to go full-time was an incredible turning point in this. And I think it's kind of allowed other creators to see that this is possible. I know that I've had people contact me that have said that, you know, it's you doing this that has proven to me that I can do it too. And I totally think that if you feel that you can, you will do it. It's one of those things that's forever rewarding, man. The amount of lives that you impact, the amount of stories that I hear from people that are reaching out, whether they're growing for a loved one, whether they're growing for themselves, whether there's some growing for someone who's sick, and they're using my videos to teach them to be able to provide for somebody else. You can't replace that feeling. There's nothing else that can replace that feeling. And that alone is what does it. There's so many nice, kind, incredibly motivating and inspirational stories out there from people that I didn't realize just some guy from the middle of nowhere could really impact, you know?
Oh yeah, I had a guy message me, and he had like learned from the show, built a little aquaponic system on the roof of his house in Jordan, and had all the plants cut like, you know, 6 inches below the top of the thing, because if they find them, they'll like, you know,
That's
it's
awesome.
a very punishment. But to get a picture like that, or like people in like other very illegal places that I won't name that have messaged me privately and are like, here's my plants, what's wrong, what do I do? I gotta get this going, like I need the money from this for my kids or whatever else. Like, you know, you get those kind of, you know, randomly now and then. Those are always kind of fun too. But I did find that article I was talking about. I'll just throw it on the screen for 2 seconds. But Friend of Dorothy is used to be a way for gay people to meet. But the part I was referencing is The military did an investigation in the 80s where they sent a bunch of agents to find this mythical Dorothy lady to reveal the names of the gay service members in the Navy. And they spent a ton of money to do it.
I love this. That's hilarious.
Yeah, man. I know all kinds of weird, quirky history stuff.
You and I both. We could go on for hours then, I can imagine. Yeah. We're gonna rip this.
Oh yeah. It's always fun to have a reason to bring up, bizarre stuff like that. The US government has done so many different strange things over the years. It makes you wonder what they're doing now. There is, kind of a second renaissance when it comes to psychedelic research chemicals. And it really makes you wonder, like, the civilian side can't be the only ones looking at that going, this could be useful.
Right? Deep fakes, like, holy fuck. That's another one,
See, they never should have brought back what's her name for Star Wars. That's when this all started, when they brought back Carrie Fisher for the Star Wars thing. That was the first big deep fake. After that, it's all been downhill. They should have just let the poor lady rest in peace.
Right. Well, they did do a Tupac hologram. When was that?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. They did the Tupac hologram at Coachella.
Yeah. I think that was like, I don't even know, actually. I'm not even going to throw a date out there. I thought that was like 15 or something, but I think it was even before that.
It would be kind of cool to if they could get the rights and pay the families and all, and then have like a concert hall where you could go have like a Jimi Hendrix thing or something else, and then have it all be like holograms and stuff like that, and then go have like, you could go see like the greatest bands of all time play like their top 5 songs in a thing. If they could set that up in a way that was like proper, that would be really cool.
Yeah. Get the money to the families or to the charities. Yeah, 100%. But someone's out there trying to take advantage or rip someone off. You already know that.
What are some of the most common questions that you get asked? Because I'm sure you get quite a few people asking questions for you on your show.
Yeah, it used to be do you still wash your buds? That's one that I get a lot, is about bud washing. I don't, only because I've started growing in a tent and I'm no longer growing in an open environment, and I found no need for it. I still would recommend that if you are growing in an open environment or even outdoors, to wash your buds, but that's definitely one of the most common ones. I get asked a lot about my name, where Pigeons comes from. Pigeons. And are you're interested, or?
Oh yeah. Love to hear.
Okay. It's not even, it's anticlimactic. It's not even that interesting to begin with. But growing up, I didn't have much of like role models, and so I really relied on music to kind of guide me. And I listened to a lot of punk rock kind of stuff, and a lot of hip hop, a lot of rap music. And I listened to an artist by the name of The Game. He's part of G Unit. He had his very first solo album called The Documentary, and on there's a track called Start From Scratch, and the song it resonates with me. But there's a line in there that says, when there's pigeons in your coop, you got to watch where your birds lay. And that line really sunk. It sat with me, and over the course of, God, I've been using that name ever since, and it's kind of morphed into the symbol of a guy with a message. And much like a pigeon has been used to pass message from people to people throughout history, they've played a very significant role in communication. So I feel that I have a mission to spread a word about cannabis and life to as many people as I can, and that's kind of what it stands for today. And so that's what I'm doing.
Also
That's probably it
broadcast
when it comes to questions.
Awesome. Is there any like really bizarre questions that you've gotten? Any really strange ones or off the wall ones, or anything that really stuck out because of how different it was?
Now, I've been trolled for so many years, man, that Yeah, I can't tell what's an oddball question or what's an insult or what's a, so no, nothing really stands out. Nothing really stands out. I honestly sometimes I can't tell who's trolling and who's asking serious questions.
I know I've gotten some pretty bizarre ones about fish stuff. People using Windex to kill aphids because they saw it in a YouTube video, or I had a guy ask if he could pleasure himself to feed his newborn fish, and they were totally serious. They like had seen it somewhere, read it somewhere, and were like, "Yo, here's the source of it. Does this work?" Like that kind of crazy shit.
It's crazy. I'm sure somewhere there's somewhere on the internet that there's a forum dedicated to how much that's going to work.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing with the internet now is a community for everything. I guess, which is a good thing too, but
Yeah, right.
maybe not.
Teach their own.
Right. So do you have any advice? Have you done any? I know you have some breeding content on your channel as well. Is there anything you learned while doing any of that?
Honestly, I haven't dove into it enough to really like get a good idea of where I really want to step when it comes into putting a plan together for breeding. I do know that I want to get into it a lot heavier. I would love to have my own genetics someday, something that I know, I trust, and can guarantee. But man, breeding is a lot of work. It takes a lot of effort, energy, time. I don't have any of those things. So it's one of those things that I'm probably going to dive into eventually. But yeah, it's hard to say. It's like we're going organic. It's like I might, but I'm not ready to just start learning all over again.
Yeah, it definitely is a different nutrient balance on the organic side.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been synthetic since I started. So it'd be a change.
So tell us about your grow method. What methods, kind of what is your setup that you like as your go-to?
Well, I use a soilless medium. I've been using HP ProMix or ProMix HP since day one. Actually, a lot of the method that I do today is the exact same method that I've been doing since day one. The only thing that's gotten better is the equipment in my setup. And shout out to my sponsors for that. I'm LED, which is a big change. I was HPS for the longest time, and yeah, that was a great transition to see, actually, from going from high intensity display or discharge or whatever the D is to LED. I use synthetic nutrients. I'm a bottle guy. Been using bottles since day one. I find it's really easy to manipulate or kind of control either way. Kind of guy that finds myself backed into a corner and in a predicament a lot of the time. And using synthetics, I can fix that. You know what I mean? Whether it's a deficiency, toxicity, whether it's just anything really, just a small change and done. Seen a change in just a couple of days. So synthetics have been really easy for me, and easy is where I'm looking at, and I think that's really the underlining thesis that I have, or theory that I have, is that you don't have to blow this out of proportion. You don't need to know a bunch of crazy stuff. It'll help, but and then there's a million ways to grow, but you can pick one and run with it. I'm big on training. I think everybody should train their plants. Everyone. I don't care if you're a first-time grower or been doing this forever, or you have a style. I think everyone should train their plants. I feel that this plant is beautiful. It's bountiful, and it has a lot to offer us. And one of the most advantageous ways to get the most just potential out of your plant, training, man. You've got to train. So I'm big on lollipopping to keep things clean. I like to keep just even canopy, flat even canopy. Just started scrogging recently, and I just filled a 4x4 tent with one plant, and it was quite simple just because I practiced proper training techniques, you could say. But that's it. It's real simple.
What are your go-to cultivars? You've been growing the same ones, or you've been growing different cultivars each time? What have you been doing as far as your cultivars, and then which ones have been your favorites so far?
No, I don't grow one particular. I like to go from place to place to place to place to place to place. One of my missions is that I'm on a mission to find the greatest cultivar, the greatest plant, the best to grow, the most bountiful, and the one that checks all my boxes, when it comes to taste and potency and so on and so forth. And I've been on ocean grown for quite some time. Been for years, actually, or at least for the last few years. I've grown a few on the side, a couple subscriber based things. Most recently, I've dove into some Zaza genetics. I'm doing some Dead Ops OG. I've got ocean grown in the flower tent and Dead Op and Zaza in the veg tent. So some Dead Ops OG. And I have no complaints. Ocean grown's got plenty of flavors, plenty of different cultivars, like different varieties, whether it's you're looking for your THCs, your cerebral highs, your couch locks, your conversations, your creativities. They've got it all. And one of the best ones I had was a solar sugar from them. Really enjoyed that.
That's awesome. Have you found any weird traits or mutations or anything particularly different or strange or notable in your runs?
Yeah. It's like you're doing this long enough. I've been growing since allegedly 2008, 2007, right? That's what Wikipedia would tell you anyways. No one, that's never right. So it is what it is. But you come across so many things that at the time seem like are like abnormal, perhaps a mutation. Well, definitely mutations. But as you start to kind of educate yourself and start to get to know things, some of these things that are mutations or one-offs aren't actually that unusual. Whether it's the extra leaves or the extra fins on leaves, whether it's double tops without a topping, or I've had colored single leaves that have been an isolated color different than every other leaf. Nothing. I wouldn't say anything too crazy. Never really say that where I'd be like, this is something I've just never seen before.
Sorry, I had a bit of an internet skip there, trying to get my boxes, or too many tabs up. I went from 2 screens to 1 screen, one big screen that I have kind of set up as 2 screens now. So.
It's funny, before I went to PC, I was like, why do we need 2 monitors? And then I got 2 monitors, and now I'm sitting here going, man, I need 3. And then I got 3rd, and now I'm like, oh, I really could use a 4th one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Once you get used to the efficiency of the multiple monitors, it's hard to go back.
Yeah. So some of them run specific programs. Like this particular monitor only runs my broadcasting. You know what I mean? So it's just that always.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm used to. Yeah. So what are some of the other do you have any neat content that you're working on currently that you're getting ready to release on your channel? Any other neat projects that you kind of have in the works that you're excited for this year for your channel?
Yeah, I've got quite a few things on the back burner. Some I can't disclose that I'm really, really, really excited about. This year in 2023 is going to be everything that I've learned over the course of the last 2 years, which is a lot of what we've talked about here in terms of how to create content that's going to be acceptable to the algorithm, but almost also pleasing to the audience. Because let's face it, you can put out a bland piece of bread, but only the birds are going to eat it. I wouldn't mind putting out a nice piece of cake, that everyone can enjoy. And that's kind of what I'm going to do for 2023. My channel is going to see a general makeover, with long and short form content. I've been doing more investigative pieces, where I dive into, whether it's controversies, look, this is kind of how you and I started talking, or even just events. I did a story on the High Times magazine. I kind of want to just, our community deserves to be celebrated, and every other community is, and I'm not saying that that's bad. That's fantastic. I want to be one of those people that helps celebrate it. And we have a lot of hidden gems in our community, that and culture and industry, that I want to highlight. We also have a lot of wolfi in sheep's clothing, and I think it's very important that those are highlighted as well. I have a couple of videos on my channel that highlight companies that I don't think have the cannabis community's best interests in mind, and their record shows that. And I think, the more we know as a community, we can identify these wolfi and kind of point them out and avoid using our wallets. These are the Hawthorne type. These are the canopy growth kinds. I'm not going to throw your channel under the bus, but it's just, we deserve to have these stories, and I want to be the one that presents them. So 2023 is going to focus on a lot of that, but it's also going to focus on our community. I've got a video series called Pigeons Garden Tours, where I like to go through people's gardens. Unfortunately, they have to be plant free, but it's a way that we can celebrate our work, the community's work, and because let's face it, there's a lot of incredible talent out there that people would love to see, and I would love to be the one that does that. So, yeah, 2023 is a big year for this channel. Actually, this week was the first day back, or the first week back from the holidays. So, yeah, it was back to the grind, a lot of meetings and stuff, but. Yeah, it's going to be a good busy month for a great year.
There we go. That's awesome. I'm looking forward to your new content. Is there any formats that you have found work better for you show than others in terms of creating things? You have a really kind of slick videos that have lots of, you have some that have different digital backgrounds and all kinds of fun different things with it. What have you found that's working well and not working well when it comes to that kind of, extra production levels on that?
Moving up from my phone to a DSLR was a big step. That happened in 2018, I think, as well, 2019. And it allowed me to get nice, crisp, clean shots, good lighting, all these kind of things. That was a big thing. Now, of course, I don't want anyone to think that you need these kind of things to create, because you need to be able to create because you love to create. And I think it's important to just be free, don't be so willing to hide. And I know it's tough when this is the content, but I want to be honest with you. If you're in a position where you shouldn't be, or are not allowed to grow, I really don't recommend making content. It's so easy for people to grab your IP address and yada, yada, yada. And really, like, if someone wants to clamp down on you, like a law enforcement, they can, and they will. And this particularly, if you're using social media and that kind of thing. So I don't recommend it. Now, of course, many of us are. So don't be afraid to get personal. That's really the biggest thing. When it comes to, you can have the flashiest edits, you can have the nicest camera and the best quality and everything, but I really feel like it's okay to let people know who the person is behind the camera too. That's really where the story is. I really get involved with channels where I get to follow the person too, because then I get to see, okay, what is this product doing to the person who's growing it? Who are you? Are you married? Do you have children? Are you going to school? Do you like to travel? These are things that I really like to know. And I think as a community, it's important to understand that we represent something more than just some pothead that sits on the couch and can't handle anything. We are people too. We have lives. We have responsibilities. We have fun. And that should be celebrated. That should be shown. And, I think that's what's more important than any single piece of equipment, single piece of software. And it's better than any weed, because we're all growing different kinds of weed at different levels. And, it's, if you're enjoying it, that's what's to be shared.
I think that's a great point that you bring up. I mean, the people that I know that smoke the most weed per day are people that like run giant grows, with like them and their wife, or them, their wife, and maybe their sister or brother or something like that. And they're working, 12, 14-hour days. They're the least lazy people I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's exactly the same. It's exactly the same.
Well, that's great. What about you? So you're a Twitch streamer as well. Do you do any cannabis content on there, or is it just gaming content?
We consume on there. That's really what I really enjoy about Twitch, is that it specifically says in the guidelines that if you're not violating your local laws and ordinances, then Twitch does not have an issue, assuming you're abiding by their TOA or their terms of agreement or terms of service. They don't actively suppress speech over there, which is amazing. It's a breath of fresh air. I can talk about anything I want. Even being on your show here, it's like I'm consciously trying to beat around the bush on a lot of the. No,
90% of 90% of our listeners are in audio format, and that is completely immune to all of the censorship. So YouTube is a minor fraction of our total listener base, at like 15 to 20% generally.
Good. Okay. Well, that's good to know. But the reality is it's like it's more of like it's training at this point. YouTube is like having your mother in the conversation at the same time. It's like you'll talk about anything, but you're really not gonna like talk about everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, whereas like Twitch, I feel like she leaves the room. You know what I mean? And you're sitting with your homies, and it's like, fuck, guys. You know what I mean? That's what I really feel like with Twitch. And I honestly think everyone should be streaming on Twitch. If you like getting high with people, then I say get a Twitch, chill. Yeah, I'm not saying to come follow me. I mean, you go live and get high with people there. Like there's a wicked 420 friendly community on Twitch, and they're celebrated. If you're 420 friendly, they will everyone, not everyone, let me be real here. A lot of the people that are recommended to me are awesome people. I can't say I check on all of them, but like on all of them to say that they're all awesome people. But it's like a lot of these people are awesome people, all related to me, that consume or even don't even consume, but are friendly to the idea of consumption. So that's fair to me. I don't think everyone should consume. That's fine. But I enjoy that when everyone's open to the conversation. So yeah, streaming on Twitch is a breath of fresh air. I do a lot of gaming content on Twitch. That is, I'm a gamer and a father and a husband and a community guy first. That's like it. That's me. And I really feel like gaming is a great outlet for grown men. Really, I may be grown women too, but I've never been a woman, so I can't really speak for them. But for being a grown man with a husband, or with a wife and child, it's like I can come down here, I can relax, I can let loose, I can scream at a bunch of little kids and not get in trouble for it. And it's like I'm living the dream, So I'm a huge believer in gaming. And so yeah, Twitch is an absolute blessing. I love my community over there. And I honestly, as much as I love my community on YouTube, the community on Twitch is so much more, it's so much it's so much more tight knit, I guess is what I can say, because like I'm live every single day. So the people over there, and there's people that are there every day with me, the same people. And we talk about everything. We talk about life, we talk about work, we talk about play, we talk about misery, we talk about success, we laugh, we cry. It's like nothing is off the table. So, and I love that community so much. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of Twitch. Yeah, maybe for other creators on the platform it is more difficult because they're doing other forms of content. I'm not sure, but for cannabis content, for me on Twitch, it's amazing. And I think honestly everyone should be doing it.
Definitely interesting is, I know I had originally tried to launch on there and dual stream, and it was back early on when they were still kind of censoring cannabis stuff. I know they've changed quite a bit in the last couple of years since we originally tried that, but definitely have to try again.
You definitely have to. You really do. I've been on Twitch actively full time. I get all my dates all messed up now, but actively since like 2018. And I have never once noticed any form of suppression, restriction of any sort. I've been rated by channels or rated with 600 viewers. You know what I mean? Like it's like people are finding me is what I'm trying to say. So I don't want to. I don't want to be like, yeah, you'll never get banned, and then someone gets banned. They're like, fuck you, Pigeons. I'm like, well, I don't know, man. For me and weed and Twitch, perfect.
Have you had any? I know you've done a lot of more journalism pieces in the last 6 or 12 months. Have you found any kind of anything while researching those that was particularly interesting or difficult or strange to kind of navigate or anything like that? Is there anything that you've really kind of stuck out in your mind as like, wow, this was totally more crazy than I thought it was, or whatever else?
You know what I know nothing about a lot of these that I start going into, and which is really outside my comfort zone. I haven't done subjects outside my comfort zone since I was in university, where they made you study shit you know nothing about. And it's rewarding because I'm learning, but at the same time I'm telling you it's really I want to be cautious on what I say here. I don't want to say I'm trying to stressful is the wrong word, but I want to get it right. So there's a lot of anxiety there, I guess is really what I'm trying to say. And so when I'm diving into these stories, sifting through articles and sifting through other people's stories can be really difficult because I never know what's fact, what's opinion, what's just completely fabricated. And that can be difficult because, I want to get it right. I really, really want to get it right. And of course there's a margin of error there, but I want it to be that margin of error to be 0%. And that level of due diligence is important. And maybe that level of anxiety is doing me, a favor in terms of ensuring that I'm crossing my I's and dotting my T's kind of thing. So the Cowboy Cup was like the first story that I did where it's, I really had to make sure I got all the sides kind of accurate on that one, because not only was the topic dynamic, it was kind of changing day by day. And I was actually it took me about a good week to sift through all of the information to get a story together. So yeah, it just takes a little bit of work, but it's fun to be able to learn something at the end too. And hey, we're doing this because of my story about the Cowboy Cup, so I can appreciate that too.
And that's one important thing too. It can be hard to kind of research and find a lot of like video content and things like that. And oftentimes like you'll find something that's like some other thing being filmed and there happens to be some audio or video in the background, all this other stuff. It's kind of fun sometimes doing the journalism on these types of topics to where, trying to navigate all that. And yeah, it was really cool to kind of see you posting that stuff up. It was kind of like, it was really funny too, because we were talking about this before the show, but you were we always try to, every couple of months, we try to bring on like 3 to 5 different podcasters to network with other people that are doing cannabis content to support other good content creators, but also just network with other people that are producing good quality content. And you were top of the list. And then I saw you did that great piece on Cowboy Cup, and it was really fun to talk to you and get you on the show. And it was funny because I literally like had your email already pasted into the thing to like reach out to you that morning. So it was really kind of serendipitous. So I do appreciate you coming on and taking the time for all that. But it's always fun when the universe kind of like is like, oh hey, the two of you need to like hang out and talk and whatever else.
I totally agree. And we'll have to have you on From the Stash podcast as well. Because the things you're doing in the garden are fascinating, and I know we can have a solid conversation on that on From the Stash. So definitely
about your podcast and how people can find it, because that's something that I didn't even realize. So I do apologize for that.
No, please don't. No, it's just From the Stash. YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah. From the Stash. Yeah. It's I do it with Mr. Grow It and Rob from CLTV. And speaking of suppression on like the podcast, we've recently made some changes to that as well to make it so that we can keep battle through we recently changed our thumbnails, which before used to have her right in the thumbnail. So we've switched that up and then tried to send those thumbnails right there is up in the background. That's a weed photo in the background. And we thought, you know what, we're shooting ourselves in the foot. Even our intro, the first couple seconds of the intro played weed. So we were like, you know what? We got to change this up. And we changed it up, and we noticed a massive change in numbers.
Nice. That's definitely important things for people to learn and know. And definitely a great new podcast for everyone to check out. Looks like you guys have over 100 episodes. Somehow I managed to not be exposed to it, but I'm definitely excited to check this out.
There's good stuff in there. We've had some wicked guests. We've had Tommy Chong, we had Jay Chandasankar from Super Troopers. We've had oh my gosh, we've had George and Nate from Growers Network. Oh my God, there's so many great guests have been on that show. So you definitely need to be one of them.
Heck yeah, I'd love to come on, and always happy to spread some cannabis education. That'd be great. Do you have anything else you wanted to mention about your content or channel here before we start to wrap up the show? I know you have a bit of a morning, or I guess it's not morning there, it's a bit of a late night there.
Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Yeah, 9 o'clock. Yeah, I stream on Twitch actually every single night, 9 p.m. Central. Most nights. So come, feel free to hang in there. I'm actually at 97,000 subscribers on YouTube. So I'm just 3,000 away from that 100,000. And you want to talk about suppression? I've been on the road to that 100,000 for so long. I hit 80,000 subs, and it just flatlined. It just they've been slowing me down. But anyways, I'm not gonna complain. I'm very thankful to be a part of this community. I'm very thankful to be a part of not only the cannabis community, the garden and grow community. The fact that I'm even looked at as someone to look towards for information or advice is just absolutely amazing to me. And I will never take it. Well, I'll always take advantage of it, but I'll never take it for granted. It's something that I'm very thankful for. So yeah. That's what's going on with me. I think everyone should be trying to make content on the internet. It's so rewarding. It doesn't even have to be cannabis content or gaming content. If you're making, I don't care if you're knitting, for crying out loud. If you've got a camera, set it up, tell stories, knit, and there's going to be an audience that's going to fall in love. So don't hold back. This is the year for you. And I would love to see what you do with it.
Awesome. And we're just putting the links to everything up here on the screen, to all the different channels, your podcast that you have there, as well as your various Twitch channels.
Thank you.
Oh, looks like that one didn't. That one's bugged, but that's all right.
And there's no need to put it up there, but there's another podcast. It's called Top Buds with Rob and Pigeons. And it's one of those things that is not cannabis related. We definitely toke on it. But this is one of those things where it's like, just kind of show that you can really do whatever you want when it comes to doing content. Rob and I kind of we smoke a heck of a lot of weed, and we talk about anything that's going on in the news. Whether it's politics, whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment, you name it. We don't care what the conversation is. We're going to talk about it. And we post multiple videos a day on that channel.
Nice.
So multiple clips a day on that channel. So check that one out. That one's still in the growth. That's a relatively newer channel out of the other ones. And I like this one. This one's a lot of fun.
Awesome. Well, definitely check out all of his various content offerings. He has a whole slew of different content he's creating on all different types of platforms. It's quite impressive, and certainly navigates the censorship monitors better than everyone else. So thanks so much for coming on the show and taking the time to share with us your knowledge on how to deal with all that kind of stuff, and then also to expose people to your channels and your podcast. I certainly look forward to listening to your podcast when I'm working in the greenhouse this week.
Thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure. It was an honor to be here. I can't wait to have you on our podcast, and thank you for making me feel comfortable, and you're very hospitable to your guests, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much. And like I said, you can find links to all of his social media in the description of whatever platform. If you listen as an audio format, we will have links to his websites and stuff as well. We'll make sure we add this extra couple of podcasts to that. And if any of you guys are looking for any cool content this weekend, let me throw that back up on the screen one last time before we wrap up the show. You guys can check out the virtual Aquaponic Cannabis Conference this weekend from Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. People from all over the world. Again, a ton of wonderful speakers. We did do kind of a big breakdown on that last week. So if you want to learn more about each of the different speakers and panels, you can find out about that in last week's episode. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. You can find this podcast on SoundCloud, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all the things. Thanks again so much for Pigeons420 for joining us today.
Thank you.
Anything else you want to mention before we end the show?
I think that was about it. Thank you to everybody for tuning in and listening to me. I really appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone that I hear comes from here, from the show. So thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And we'll catch you guys again here on Saturday morning. Take it easy.